Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and in this video I'll be making this light up star ornament. I'm using the Tonic Studios craft kit number 47 called Winter Advent Star Box, and this project is just so adorable. It came out just as I pictured in my mind, and I'm rather in love with it. I feel like I want to keep this for myself rather than give it away as a gift, but maybe that just means I need to make a few more. So I'm going to show you this first part in real time. I've already done all the die cutting because there's nothing too spectacular that I did there, but I like to reinforce the score lines that the die does put in place for you, and I'm showing you this in real time because this is how slowly I move. When I'm crafting, especially for stuff like this, because it can be a little bit tricky with these not being at perfectly straight angles. But you can actually line it up. So the key is that for me anyhow, there's one point right here that if you can just get that to settle into the groove, then you can line up the bottom with the bottom of your score track. This middle section is parallel to the aperture, so you can line up the inside of the aperture edge to the other score lines on your board, and this last section you can line up that outer edge with the top of your score track. So it all comes down to finding this point right here and getting it into your score track, because afterwards you have a couple of ways that you can kind of reference how to get that line nice and straight. So then I flipped over to the back side and I scored the rest of the lines from the back. And that's because generally when you have a score line, you want to fold that as a mountain fold. So if you need a valley fold, then what you'll want to do, or what I tend to do anyhow, is score from the opposite side. So the one thing that I found as I looked at this design was that for this verso design pattern anyhow, the gap between the design and the outer edge of each of these triangular sections was rather large, and there isn't a die in this die set, and it's one of the rare occasions where I'm I can't find a die in a Tonic Studios die set that I want, but there isn't a smaller triangle to cut out an aperture so that you can actually cut out a frame. And absent that, I decided to make my own frame using 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive tape. I've got that on all 5 points of my star, and once I pull off the paper release liner, I'm just going to pour glitter generously over that double-sided adhesive. And then just using my finger, I'm going to burnish that glitter into the adhesive from all angles and with a lot of pressure to really make sure that every bit of that adhesive tape is covered in glitter. And I'll just brush off the excess glitter, but the adhesive does a really good job of holding down the glitter. The key is to just try to get as much loose glitter off, so I like to use a Swiffer cloth for that, and that way you're not continually shedding glitter as you continue to work on your project. So I've cut a little piece of vellum here just to cover all of the, I guess the bits that are cut through, and that's just to soften the light that is going to come out of the box. If you wanted your light to be brighter, then instead of vellum, you could maybe use acetate. But I've got fairy lights that are in, I think it's called soft white, and so it has a more yellowy kind of sort of tone to it, and so I thought the vellum would give a nice softness to the overall effect. Now you'll need 2 of these panels, but you can see that the one, well, it's actually kind of hard to tell because I've already folded the other one in, but the one on the right, I've already cut off the glue tabs. And for the center section here, I've actually used the additional kind of mats and layers and verso design dies to die cut these additional decorative pieces. And that all came out of, the original pentagon that was die cut out of the center of the star box. And so it's really nice, efficient use of paper as well. I'm trying out this quickie glue pen that I think is kind of cool. It's probably been on the market for a long time, and I'm only just now picking up on it. But what's nice about it is that it does have a nice fine tip. So for intricate dies like these, it's really useful. And as well, because it's a liquid adhesive, it gives you that little bit of wiggle room or time to kind of position things in place. I would normally use something like my dotty tape runner, which I did use on this particular panel because this one's easy to kind of get into the right location because it perfectly matches that inner aperture. But on the star bit, it was useful to kind of have the liquid glue just to have that extra bit of wiggle room. With all of these scored lines, I'm going to just gently fold these in because you don't really need a hard fold or a hard crease on these fold lines. So I rather like the look of the softer kind of edge. So I'm not folding it down completely flat. And that way I can avoid like a really hard crease. This piece of ribbon here is how I'll hang the ornament up. And so I've just tied a knot and I'll attach that to the inside of my box. So I decided originally I was going to have the knot on the inside of the box so that it wasn't visible, but I ultimately decided to put the knot on the outside because I kind of like the look of seeing it actually. But you could definitely decide to do it however you like, or you could skip the knot altogether and just glue the ends into the box. But the reason why I'm leaving, the reason why I have the knot is so that the ribbon does come to a nice point, which I think makes it a little bit more manageable to glue it down, and so that it looks like it's coming out of the box from sort of a single location. And as well, you know, it helps to kind of just secure it or anchor it down. So I used Beacon 3-in-1 glue to attach this ribbon. It's a nice strong glue, lots and lots of wiggle room to get that kind of positioned in the right place, and it's great for ribbon and fabric as well. So I'll let that sort of sit and dry, and I'm going to turn on my glue gun because I'll be using hot glue to actually secure down the fairy lights. So I bought this on Amazon, and if I can find it, I'll link to it in the description box below. I've already put a Velcro dot onto one side of this, and I actually put it on the side of the battery that doesn't have the little screws that you unscrew in order to replace the battery if you want it to do that, so that you know, this little piece of Velcro isn't in the way of anything. And this is a pretty small piece of Velcro, and really it's only there so that this little battery pack, which also has your on-off switch, can get attached to the inside flap of the star box, and that way it's not sort of floating around or, you know, loosely in the box. Now, my Velcro dots do already have adhesive on them, but I still like to use these glue dots because they're pretty strong, and I just want to make sure that there's a good stick on the Velcro, especially since you're kind of pulling them on and off, and so the adhesive really needs to be strong so that you just don't pull off the entire piece of Velcro. And so you can see here, I am attaching this to the bottom of my ornament, and it's on the panel that actually has the two slits where you would tuck in the two tabs from the opposite half of the box where the closure would be. So if this was a gift box, this would be where you kind of tuck in those tabs where you open and close your box. And so this way, by attaching it here, you're going to have access to the battery pack to change out the battery if you want, but more importantly, to actually easily kind of get at it so that you can turn the lights on and off. And then now I'll just make my way around the star. I did miss going all the way out to one of the star points, but you can kind of wrap this around in whatever way that you want. I'm basically just using the hot glue gun to anchor my fairy lights wherever I need to have it kind of take a turn. And so I've made my way around one entire panel, and I still have a lot of fairy light left to go. I believe that you can cut these lights, and, whatever you cut off obviously is, trash and not usable afterwards. But rather than do that, because I've never done it before, so I don't know firsthand if it works, I'm going to just continue to route more light onto the other half of the box. And so here you can see where I'm making the leap from one half of the box onto the other half of the box. And I'm giving myself a little bit of play here, a little bit of wiggle room. It's not super tight because once I glue this bit down, these two separate halves are going to be connected by this wire. And so I want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room so that as I work with this box to assemble it, I'm not, so constrained by this piece of wire. And so I'm going to continue to work my way, attaching the fairy lights to this half of the box as well. Now, I think that these fairy lights are 3.3 feet long. And so that's rather long, but I kind of like it because it makes the inside of the ornament nice and bright, and I've used the exact same fairy lights in my light up snow globe ornament, which I have a tutorial video on as well. So if you want to catch that, I'll link to that in the upper right hand corner. And so even though it's relatively long, this stretch of fairy lights, I think that it really works well for this project. So on this last piece here, which this piece will be the front of or what I would consider the front of my ornament. And so I'm just gonna wrap it around the inside aperture all the way around, which I didn't do on the other half. And I guess I could have, because I do have a little bit of extra wire here, but I kind of like leaving that little bit of extra wire to just float right in the center of the box. And that's gonna make the center of the box look even brighter. It's already going to look brighter because it has sort of the largest open space, so there's more light coming through the center already. But because of the extra light on top of that, it's going to be even brighter. So now all you have to do is just attach your two halves, and this would be the same as you would if you were going to use this as a gift box. So I'm going to put double-sided adhesive on all of my glue tabs, and I'm gluing edge to edge along the folded score line, because that's going to be the outside sort of edge of the box. And so making sure that it has a really nice tight seal there is important to me. But I'm still going to use liquid adhesive, and I'm even going to smear that across the entire glue tab because I really, really want to make sure that this has a nice, permanent, strong hold. And so liquid adhesive is really a safe bet if you want something to have a nice long-term hold. So I'm going to go ahead and smear liquid adhesive on the rest of my glue tabs, and I'm just going to fold this all flat because it is designed to be able to fold down flat. So it's really, really easy to attach and have everything line up perfectly. There are spots where I see little gaps, especially up where my ribbon is, because of that extra thickness that the ribbon introduces. So I'm going to use some clips to actually pinch that down and really hold it tight as the glue dries. And really the toughest part of this project is waiting for the glue to dry before I can actually kind of reintroduce all that dimension and fold all of those score lines in and really pop it open as a box. So that's pretty much the ornament complete. So now I can tuck my little battery pack in, turn it on, and there is our light up star ornament. and really, really happy with how this turned out. And it would be really, really fun to, create, because we have so many different verso dies with different patterns that can be cut into it. I didn't think about it, but I could have made the front and the back have different patterns that were cut into those triangular sections. Maybe I'll do that the next time around. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you liked this project, and if you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you want to catch new videos as they get released, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Thank you so much, and until my next video, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!